afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another Secret Sunday session. Today, we are joined by Rhiannon Clarke. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it's exciting to have Rhiannon on in the lead up to the Paralympic Games, which we know are in Paris this year. And for those people that are not aware who Rhiannon is, she is a Paralympian. And we're going to hear a lot about her story today and how she's come along this journey towards heading to not just Paris, but continually competing in the green and gold. So it is a privilege to have her on today. And I'm so excited to hear more about your story, Rhiannon. But firstly, for those people that are not aware of who you are and what you were doing with yourself, who is Rhiannon and what does she do with herself?
I'm 21 years old. I have competed at 5 international events so far, two world champs, two Commonwealth Games, and a Paralympics. And I compete in the T38 classification, which is a classification for coordination impairment. So I've got cerebral palsy, which classes me in it, and it's the mildest of all the coordination impairments. So I guess when I'm walking around, you can't really tell I have CP. You can kind of tell when I run, but it's pretty mild. And then I also compete in the 100 and 400 meters, which are kind of two very different events to compete in, but they're good. They're both speed and sprinting, so they work together.
I love that. And, having cerebral palsy, as you said, it's something where people can't see it. Does that make it really hard?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've kind of learned along my journey of how interesting it is having such an invisible disability, because I guess you have lots of people kind of come up and invalidate your disability just because they can't see it. And actually, a lot of the time, it usually is other people with disabilities. And because they see me being able to do things that they can't do, they just immediately go to you're not disabled. So it's quite hard because I feel like I don't fit in with able bodies, but then at times I feel like I don't fit in with the para athletes, which it makes it, yeah, quite hard. And I guess I understand that I do have life a little bit easier than people with more severe disabilities, but I guess I can't really change that. And yeah, I guess times it would be nice just to feel like I fit in everywhere. But yeah, still something I'm learning and growing. I think one thing that also a lot of people do is they compare me to able-bodied athletes. I've had so many Instagram messages of people saying, "Oh, if you competed with the able-bodied athletes, you would do absolutely terrible," which I know I wouldn't do very well because I run 12.9 and able bodies or females can run into the 10s or low 11s. So yeah, I do understand that. And I don't understand the need to compare me just because I'm more mild, because I don't think they would really compare someone in a wheelchair to an able-bodied athlete.
That makes it so incredibly hard, and I'm so sorry that you have to go through that because I can only imagine, I mean, in the world that say able bodies live in as well, it's comparison is a big thing, let alone for someone that is struggling with a disability that is invisible. How does that play a toll on your mental health?
I think, yeah. So for me, definitely it's taken a long time for me to even just be comfortable with my disability, because back when I was younger in primary school, I was bullied a bit because I don't know, I had special equipment and stuff, and I was really bad at sport. I couldn't catch a ball. I'd be that one who would drop the ball, and all the kids would be yelling at me, and I'd come last in the running race. So I think once I got to high school, I was kind of determined to keep my disability hidden. I didn't want to have special equipment. I didn't want to be seen as a disabled person. So I hid it up until I got into year 10 because I just thought that everyone would treat me differently. I would be bullied and no one would include me in anything. And then everyone kind of just thought that I did athletics on the side and I was an able-bodied athlete. And then once I got selected for the Commonwealth Games when I was in year 10, I kind of had to tell everyone that I was a para athlete, but lots of people kind of still didn't understand it because they're like, we can't see anything. So some people thought it could be an intellectual disability. Some people could have thought it was other things. So, and it was quite interesting of people speculating that. And I had to, I guess, explain even more, which for me, having to explain, I felt that really hard because I was so embarrassed by my disability then, and having to, I guess, explain felt really awkward. But now I'm so much more confident in my disability, and I want to, I guess, share that to younger athletes so they can be confident with their disability. And just anyone with a disability, it's, well, something you can't get rid of. So you've got to kind of just live with it. And yeah, I guess learning to be confident is definitely a big part of it. And it's taken a lot of time to grow. And my family's been very supportive. My mom, well, I think she's one of the ones who wanted me to go and tell people, because she said that I should be proud of it. And she was always someone to advocate for me, even when other people said, oh, just let her hide it and stuff like that. It's not that visible, because people wanted me to fit in. But my mum, she's always one who, I guess, wants me to be my real self. So it's great that I have her supporting me.
Oh, it's heart it's honestly heartbreaking, and I think a lot of people don't understand that people like yourself that, we come back to that invisibility and not feeling like it's in one of the worst categories of a disability, and how that actually does affect someone like yourself and someone so young. And the fact that you feel like you have to hide yourself or feel ashamed or embarrassed of something that you can't control. I mean, I can only imagine how that would make you feel as a young person knowing that you can't be your true, authentic self.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, yeah. Well, I guess for a period of time, I've also felt that I don't belong myself. I guess after getting lots of people saying things like, you don't have a severe disability, you don't belong in this. And I don't know, at times it kind of becomes real to me, and it kind of becomes like, yeah, maybe I don't belong here. Like, why am I doing this sport? Why am I a para athlete when I am so mild? But then I guess reality kind of hits me at times, and like, yeah, no, I am disabled. I do have lots of things that I am limited on, and definitely my coordination and my strength, it's all impacted by my disability. It's just not as visible, but it definitely impacts me even from a daily life to my sport. So that's kind of when I feel like, yeah, no, I do belong. And there's so many amazing para athletes who make you feel like you belong. And no matter what disability you have, everyone, yeah, they they're all so much fun, especially on Paralympic teams, because everyone is so different. You've got people with vision impairments, you've got people with missing limbs, people in wheelchairs, people with cerebral palsy. There's so many different disabilities, and everyone just comes together. They don't look at you because of your disability. They look at you because of how great of an athlete you are. And the team environment is the most amazing thing. And I think my first Com Games experience was definitely a big turning point for my disability in terms of being able to meet these other athletes who had different disabilities. I got to room with Eliza O'Connell. She's an amazing, retired wheelchair racer, and then Madison Di Rosario and Angie Ballard. So rooming with those three girls was, I think, the best thing ever to happen to me. They kind of just taught me how to, I guess, well, just to like sport at such an elite level, but also to be confident in yourselves. Those girls, they're amazing, and they're massive advocates for para sport, and being able to see what they can do in the media and what they can do in sport was a great experience for me, especially at the age of 15. So yeah, and also like, I guess also taught me how to, I guess, kind of make fun of my disability a little bit and kind of joke around. It sounds a bit bad. And I think if people outside of the para athletics world, I guess, heard it, they'll be like, oh my gosh. But I don't know, we kind of just, we were confident with our disabilities, and we could just make little jokes, which that was great to be able to hear from these athletes who've been in the sport for quite a while, and from these representatives of disability in the community, that they could, I guess, have fun with it.
Oh, and we do. We need a lot more fun, and I think that that laughter in our lives when it can be so serious, especially I feel like in today's day and age. But when we do talk about, where you sit with your disability now, do you feel like you are comfortable and confident enough to be in it and to live it and to share your story?
Yeah, I would say, well, I guess comparing to 12-year-old me, I'm so much more confident. I think if 12-year-old me saw me today, she'd be like, why are you going and telling everyone? Like, why is it out in the world? I was actually, back when I was 12, I was scared to get records in para athletics, because I was like, my name's going to be written down in the record books. as a para athlete, as a person with a disability, I cried when I broke the 400-meter under 16 Australian record. Not because I was happy I got it, because I was like, oh my gosh, people are now going to know. They're going to know I'm disabled. Which, oh my gosh, looking back at it now, I'm like, why did I do that? I want to get all the records these days. I want to get world records one day. So I think, yeah, very much of a difference. And I think now I'm so much more confident, yeah, with speaking about my disability. There is times where it's a little bit tough because people, of course, can't see it. So they get a little bit confused. But I'm willing to explain it to people. And lots of people are so scared to ask questions. They're scared to be like, oh, well, like, why are you a Paralympian? Why have you competed in the para athletics? And I'm fine to answer those questions because I prefer to tell them rather than people being guessing. And I think we need more people to be a bit more curious and I guess ask those questions because, yeah, I would want to know why someone's a para athlete if I couldn't see it. So, yeah, and I think also with adults asking questions these days, we can get more children to understand disability and get kids to grow up seeing disabilities and understanding that everyone is different. So, yeah, that's the reason I want to be talking about my disability today because I want everyone to know that having a disability, it shouldn't be something you're embarrassed about, should be something that you're proud of, you live with it, and yeah, that's just you.
And celebrate it. That's so beautiful. I love that. And I love the message that you are sharing as well in your own journey as you're going as well, as I said, to the Paralympics. Um, with this and your journey so far, I know we talk about questions and cerebral palsy and what actually is it? Because I think a lot of people, as we say, assume or grow up knowing someone, but never do actually ask the question. So based on your understanding, what is cerebral palsy?
Yeah, so cerebral palsy, so it's a neurological condition and it usually occurs before birth, during birth, or kind of quite soon after, in comparison to like a stroke, which would occur like after a few months of age, up to whatever age. So cerebral palsy, yeah, it's pretty much the brain is impacted. And for me, it occurred before birth. So it was before I was born, I ran out of room to grow, and then I had lack of oxygen to the brain. So it was the left side of my brain that was impacted. And then, yes, I guess when I was born, it was, I don't know, I guess I didn't look exactly normal. And my mum already had one kid. So she was like, oh, this one, that she's not developing as well. So my mum advocated for me to go get diagnosed. But of course, since it was so mild, she went to quite a few people and then she finally found a physio that was like, oh, yeah, no, this is cerebral palsy. I was straight onto a Botox trial from a young age. And then, yeah, had intense physiotherapy. And I think if I didn't have all of that treatment and also the Botox when I was younger, I think my life would be a lot different to this day. And I'm so grateful for my mum for advocating for me and having, yeah, someone who's always there to support me and make sure I'm getting the right treatment. So my cerebral palsy, it really just affects my coordination, balance. I get quite fatigued quite easily. My muscles are like tight and weak at the same time. So it's a bit annoying. And I still go to the physio twice a week to make sure I can, I guess, stay on top of it. And it definitely comes with pain, even though you can't, I guess, see the pain, it's definitely there. And my type of cerebral palsy is hypertonia. So that is the tight and the weak muscles, but there's also some other different types and it can affect people's or like limbs in all different ways. So for me, it's both my legs and my right arm. But I'm also right-handed as well, which wasn't really the smartest thing because I wasn't using my right hand when I was a kid. So my mum kind of taught me to use it, but then apparently taught me to use it a bit too much. But that's okay. Just don't really have the neatest writing, but yeah, can't really change which hand I write with to this day. But yeah, so I
Wow.
guess cerebral palsy can, yeah, come in all different forms. And some people are in wheelchairs and then some people can walk like me, but it all affects us in very different ways.
And how does it affect your running?
Yeah, so for my running, you can definitely tell it when I run, and we have to do lots of, I guess, training on technique. But everyone does need to train their technique and make sure that they can run with a certain gait. But for me, I definitely impacts like how my arms are when I run. My right hand, like it kind of like, I don't know, is like really stiff. And it looks kind of odd because I have one hand like that and then one hand like that. It's quite weird. But that's just how I've always run. And yeah, I guess like in terms of the tight muscles, which somewhat work in favor for me, because when you sprint, you kind of want a little bit like, yeah, to be able to push off with the tight muscles, but at times they get a bit too tight. And then also, I guess the coordination and the balance. It was definitely a pretty hard thing to work on, learning how to use blocks, especially, yeah, coming out of them and trying to not fall over. But I've had a lot of work on them. So I think now my blocks are definitely getting better, but there's always lots more to improve. And another thing we have to do is adapt training exercises. I'm so glad that my coach, he understands disability and he's willing to work with his athletes based on their abilities. And we adapt things in the gym, we adapt things on the track to better suit what I can do. So it's good that we, yeah, can do that and we can adapt and learn how to make things work.
Mm, that's incredible. And for those people that are not aware, I'm guessing blocks is like the things that are at the start line?
Yeah, the starting blocks you
Yeah.
have to press your feet up against and then you kind of push out of them. It's, yeah, they're quite hard to use if you haven't used them, but yeah, they definitely help when you're running. They help you push out and so you can accelerate.
Yeah. Oh, it's fascinating. I love understanding Olympic mindsets and people that are going to the Paralympics and what it takes to get people there because I think we all see the highlight reels and we all see the end result and we see the records or we see people on the podium, but we don't see the work and the effort that goes into it and the taxing that it can take on the body as well as the mind and the sacrifices that you guys do have to make in order to make it to sometimes just the trials. And for you, have you ever felt like I know this is obviously a path that you've decided to take and you've wanted to take, but felt like you were potentially missing out on, say, your younger years and your adolescence because you've devoted so much time to making a games?
Yeah, definitely for me, I think, oh, especially having success at such a young age, because of course my first international event was when I was 15. So I've had to make lots of sacrifices on the way. But for me, I'm happy to make those sacrifices because I realize that my athletics career, of course, is like more time limited. A lot of athletes only go to their 30s and usually, yeah, not many years past that. So I think for me, I love the sport of athletics. There's definitely been times where I'm like, why am I doing this? My friends are all going out to parties, they're all going out. And I'm just, well, sometimes I go out, but I'm just the designated driver. But I realized you can still have fun like that. I have amazing friends who understand that I'm not going to be available all the times. And I guess I make accommodations for that. And sometimes I'll catch up after I finish training. I'll just rock up in my training clothes or other times I'll just send messages rather than actually catching up in person. So I think surrounding myself with people like that has been very important for me. And I guess you kind of like realize who are your real friends and who are going to stick by you, even though I guess you can't really even see them properly. And also, I guess, well, COVID year was when I turned 18. So it was, well, I couldn't exactly go out and really celebrate my 18th that much, but I had friends over. And for me, it wasn't as important to go out and go clubbing. For me, it was, I guess, to spend quality time with my friends and continue my training. So I'm quite grateful that I guess kind of, yeah, I enjoy the training. And I think, yeah, training's a bit more fun than clubbing for me anyway. So
Mm. You
I'll
maybe
just
you'll do it backwards one day.
yeah, exactly. I don't know, maybe when I'm in my 30s, I'll be having my, yeah, clubbing phase.
Yeah. Incredible. And with that, sometimes training can be quite isolating when it's just you and it's your goal and it's your team. Do you ever find that you do miss connection and people and sort of sometimes it not always being about this one goal and yourself and striving to something that is in the future?
Yeah, I think definitely yeah, sometimes feel a bit isolated, especially in an individual sport, because, yeah, you're kind of working on your own. But most of the time, I do train with a training squad, which I'm so grateful for. And they've become, yeah, all my friends and pretty much like a second family to me. They're so amazing to train with, and we always push each other. But I guess there's definitely times where I do individual sessions, but I'm so grateful to have my coach who's so amazing. And yeah, we get along really well. So I guess having him in the sessions, it doesn't make you feel as alone, or you don't feel like you're all doing it by yourself. You have someone supporting you along the way. But yeah, there's definitely times where I'm like, I would really, want to be going and hanging out, but I'm just so tired after training. So it does make you feel a little bit isolated, but everyone's really understanding, which is amazing.
Mm, I can imagine the not the stress, but as you said, like the feeling of being so tired and exhausted, especially in the lead up. Can you just provide a little bit of insight into the training schedule as well as how to get your head right for a Paralympics?
Yeah, so my training schedule at different stages of competition, it kind of changes. So for me at the moment, I do 3 gym sessions and 3 track sessions a week. So I don't train 6 days a week. So we kind of, separate my gym and my track, but we also add in, I guess, like running specific stuff for the gym, but then we also add a bit of strength stuff into track sessions. So it can be quite tiring doing all those sessions, but I guess prioritize my sleep, and I prioritize relaxing through the day and making sure I recover the best I can, and having, time between sessions. And when I do my bigger bulking phase of lots of training, I usually do an extra bike session and a water running session as well, and usually some sort of core workouts at the same time. So those times it definitely gets really tiring, and usually I'm just, I guess, once I'm done with training, I'm just in a mood where I don't want to talk to you, and I just want to go and lay down and just not do anything at all. But my family's become very understanding of that, and they respect it, that I'm going to be fatigued, and to, I guess, take in those moments where I'm ready to do stuff and I'll hang out with them. They take those opportunities.
Do you ever feel that you fear that your body is not going to step up to the plate?
Yeah, there's definitely lots of times where I guess, like, I feel like my body isn't moving as well. Like, I did a gym session yesterday and it just didn't feel as great, and I couldn't move the weights, and I was really annoyed with myself. I was like, I did PBs the week before and I was lifting up heavy weights for quite a few reps. But then, yesterday I just couldn't move them. And I was like, why am I doing this? What's wrong with me? What's happening? And my coach is understanding, like, well, everyone knows you're going to have off days. You can't have every single session as an amazing session. And there's going to be the days where you can't perform at your best. But I think I need to learn to understand more that, my body sometimes will get tired and it will get fatigued. And I need to be a bit nicer on myself and understand that. But also, this sport, it definitely has like an impact on your body. You're putting quite a bit of weight through your legs when you're running. So I've had lots of injuries and niggles and stuff like that. I had a stress reaction in my foot back in 2020, which, my gosh, back looking at 17-year-old me being I was really annoyed at that point, being told I couldn't run. The Paralympics was supposed to happen in that year. I was just so annoyed. I was, angry at the world. I was like, why is this happening to me? I just had the best season of my life the season before, but now I'm like, I can't run and I have to do this other training. I was just quite annoyed. And looking back at it now, I'm like, I was, became quite lazy, and I became just really annoyed with the sport because I don't know, it was just annoying that this sport that I love so much, I just couldn't do it. And yes, I think learning to overcome that, and I guess every other injury I've had, I strained my hamstring before the Paralympics in Tokyo, and I was like, well, I've overcome this like stress reaction in my foot, and then now I've done my hamstring. Like it felt like things were just piling on top of each other. It was, no, it was definitely quite a hard experience, but now I'm working with my coach a lot more in terms of making sure the body is ready to go and making sure that I'm feeling my best and avoiding injuries. That's why I do lots of physio, and we've adapted my gym to make sure that the hamstrings are as strong as possible. So it's definitely, yeah, it's taken a lot of learning, but I guess the injuries, as bad as they are, I guess for me, especially for someone who I thought everything came easy to me, it definitely taught me that things don't come easy and you actually do have to work and you can't take anything for granted.
Absolutely. How do you overcome those setbacks, especially as you said, when you know that you've worked so hard and done such a great season, and then you hit a setback? And sometimes we sit in those setbacks for a bit because we want to play the victim sometimes, and we want to feel sad for it and sorry for ourselves. And I think we all do that. But for you, what were the little moments, or was there a little moment that really pulled you out of it to overcome the next one and then overcome the next one?
Yeah, well, definitely looking back at 2020, when I found out the results of the MRI, and they said, oh, you have a stress reaction. If you keep running, it would turn into a stress fracture, which that's even more time off training. I don't know. In that moment, well, of course, I was crying because the Paralympics were a few months away at that time. And I just wanted to run. Like, I wanted to run out of that appointment. I wanted to just
Mm.
run. But of course, I couldn't. I had to walk and try to stay off my foot as much as possible. Um, I was so grateful to have my coach in that appointment and to have my mum with me because, yeah, they were by my side. And even though they saw little young me having a big cry, they were like, we can get over this. It's, yeah, a little setback. But for me, I was like, this is the end of the world. I'm not going to this Paralympics. This is going to be so bad. Yeah, it was a very interesting time. I also had to wear like a moon boot for a period. I had to wear it to my school ball, my year 12 ball. Thank God I had a long dress. So it covered it up. But I was so annoyed. It was such an annoying time. And then I guess finding out that the Paralympics were postponed to the next year, of course, because of COVID, it was somewhat of a relief. But I don't know, for me, I think I was so caught up with my year 12 studies in that year. I somewhat feel like I put my training a little bit on hold, thinking, oh, I'll just come back better next year. And I don't really need to put in too much work. Not smart. But yeah, I guess overcoming that injury and having to learn to adapt and I guess change training. I'm glad that my coach was there throughout it all and he helped me adapt and I guess stay as positive as possible in that year. And then, of course, yeah, the next year when the hamstring injury occurred, it was 2 weeks before the games started. And I did a block start at the training camp up in Cairns. And yeah, I just felt my hamstring feel weird. I was like, oh, what's that? And then, yeah, got an MRI, and that's, I think it was only a grade 1 strain. So it wasn't too bad, but still not ideal. So I was pretty much just jogging in training up to the lead up to those games. And I had done lots of big talking before those games. I was like, I'm going to be on the podium. I'm going to do amazing. And because I'd done really well at the world champs beforehand, and I put so much pressure on myself. And I guess even without the hamstring injury going into the games, I was not in the right mindset. I don't know, yeah, I did training just to do training. I didn't really enjoy it as such. And I think I was just kind of hoping that things were going to come easy, that it was just going to be, I don't know, not many people were going to show up to the Paralympic Games. And for me, yeah, I wanted it easy. I wanted to have an easy win. And then lots of girls showed up for those games. And yeah, I got fifth and seventh, which is still pretty amazing, especially because I was the youngest in the field out of everyone. But for me, I think going into those games, I thought my whole world was going to end if I didn't win a medal because I'd won medals at the 2018 Com Games and 2019 World Champs. I was like, I'm not going to be a worthy athlete if I don't win a medal. And I didn't win medals, but my world didn't end. And I think that was probably the biggest turning point for me. It was like, I need to start enjoying this sport. I don't need to do this sport just to win. I need to do this sport to enjoy it. And yeah, that kind of was a massive turning point for me. And I think also had learning how to like overcome the injuries and also overcome, I guess, the pressure that I put on myself to achieve success. It's, yeah, I've definitely changed a lot from then.
It's almost proving your head noise wrong so often that you know, what you're saying up here, it's not reality, and that there's more, as you said, than just winning a medal. And I think that's also really important to highlight that no journey is linear. It's like it's up and it's down, especially in sport with injuries all the time. I can only imagine sometimes how stressful and anxiety provoking that would be, knowing that you come so close and then unfortunately sometimes you miss out. But the lessons that you would learn, as you said, that can then set you up to be bigger and better the next time round. So powerful and such like an important message. I think you've said a lot how running gives you so much. In every situation, almost when you do have a setback, you want to run. When you don't have a setback, you want to run. Um, but what does it actually give you, and why did you start running in the first place?
Yeah, well, I didn't really do much running when I was younger. I did swimming, horse riding, I did ballroom dancing. Yeah, I was
Ooh.
not a good runner. Yeah, like I said before, like I was that kid coming last, and my mum would be at the school carnivals watching me, and she'd feel so bad for me. She's like, oh, yeah, I was just, yeah, coming last. I don't think I really realized it. I was like, oh, I'm just not good at running. But then once I got to year three, I didn't come last in the running carnival. I actually came third. It was a small year group, but I came third overall. Like that is so good. And then I got to go to the inter school and I got to race there. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know, this is pretty cool. Like, I like this feeling of doing well. And then I continued up to, I think it was year five. That was my first year of winning the school carnival. And then year six, I got champion girl. It was like 12 girls in my year, but you know what? For me, that was so
It's
amazing. I got
everything, yeah.
exactly. I won the long jump, the 100, the cross country, and then I think I came last in the long throw, but I still got to win champion girl. And that was when I was like, oh my gosh, I think I do have somewhat of a talent in running. And I was told by my physio to go to a parathletics come try day. And this is, yeah, quite directly after this carnival had happened. And I was like, still a bit like, I guess, nervous for it because, like I said, won against kids in my year, but it wasn't like that many people. But yeah, I decided to go to this parathletics come try day. I think it was after my mum convincing me. She was very convincing at this point. I'm pretty sure there was some sort of bribe in there to get me to go. But yeah, once I went, I met my first coach and he told me that one day I could go to the Paralympics, which I don't know, me and my mum were quite shocked because we didn't really realize much about the Paralympics back then. We didn't, I don't know, we didn't really see it on TV. I remember watching like the Beijing and the London Paralympic, the Olympic Games, but
Mm,
never really saw the Paralympics. We didn't
mm,
realize that, oh, like there's a pathway for people with disabilities in sport because I guess at the time it wasn't really advertised. It was all about the Olympics. So yeah, going to that and finding out, yeah, there's a pathway for me in sport. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. And that's kind of how it continued. And then did not expect to go to the Com Games at the age of 15. That was a massive shock and especially did not expect to win a medal. I'm pretty sure, like I said in one of the interviews after, oh, I thought I would win bronze or something. And I'm guessing the something was fourth. Pretty sure that's what I had meant. But yeah, to come away with a silver medal, that was, yeah, quite a random thing. And I guess kind of set up the career and, yeah, showed
mm,
me that I have a passion for running. And now, rather than having a passion for just winning and just doing amazing, I have a passion just to run because it's so much fun. I love the feeling of sprinting. You kind of just feel like, I don't know, you're floating on clouds. It's just, it's so amazing. And I think for like anyone just to do running, you can, I don't know, some people say you can run away from, I don't know, like bad things. But for me, I just run away, not run away, I run towards, I don't know, like a better future for the sport. I run towards my goals for myself and I run to do my best. That's what I run to do. And I love it so much. It's an amazing feeling that, yeah, and when you're going so fast that, I don't know, the race, like it kind of just happens like really quickly. But then, I don't know, there's lots going through your head in a race, which even a 12-second race, you're like, I don't know how I can have so many thoughts, but I don't know. But somewhat I kind of like forget about everything. It's, I don't know, it's a weird experience when you run and it's just like no other. So I'm so glad that I went to that Parathletics come try day because I don't think I would be doing running today if I didn't go to that.
mm.
It's crazy.
That's awesome. How it all just started there, that little like spark of inspiration that set you up for your journey. Unbelievable. And I mean it's so fascinating because I find that, you know, some people do long distance running and say that they get the same feeling, but you're saying like 12 seconds. Um, what do you think about? Like so often I do think, is there anything that you like before you start when you're on the blocks, do you have like dialogue that you repeat in your head to sort of motivate you, or is it just blank?
I think definitely before the race, I do lots of visualization of it. And I kind of, especially in the cool room, because you're in this room with all your competitors for like 30 minutes. Actually, at the Paralympics, I think it was over 40 minutes. We're in this cool room together. You're not going to go talk to your competition. Everyone is getting in the headspace of the race. And for me, I just close my eyes and I just picture myself coming out of the blocks. And I just picture myself being as explosive as I can and kind of just, yeah, picture the way I'm going to run the race. And then I think when you I guess standing behind the blocks, it's very nerve-wracking seeing all the crowd and hearing all the noises. But once you actually get in the blocks, I'm just in there and I'm thinking, I'm listening towards the for the gun and kind of just letting everything go. And I think I guess the crowd goes silent when you're in the blocks, but you're just listening for that gun. You're waiting patiently. And then once that gun goes, you're like, I don't know. I guess because you do a lot of training in preparation for it, like you practice your block starts, you practice each phase of the race in training. So it kind of just comes to you and it kind of comes, I guess, somewhat naturally when you're running. And I know there's a massive like crowd screaming, but I don't think I've ever like heard the crowd when I've been running. I think it just kind of gets blocked out and I just run and I don't know, hope for the best. There's been races where I think I have thought of like my competition running next to me and I've tensed up and I've lost the race for that. So I think now I still think in the race, but I'm like, stay relaxed and keep moving. And I'm pretty sure that's what I think of and just keep moving my arms, moving my legs. Yeah, it's a very like weird experience. And when I've thought of staying relaxed, I have done way better. But when I've tensed up and be like, oh my gosh, I need to beat this person, I have done terribly. So yeah, learning how to, I guess, stay as calm as possible is very important.
Stay as calm as possible, and I think stay in your lane, not comparing, as you said, to other people, which we do so often. And sometimes you can get quite wigged out when you see everyone else, or if they're sort of prepping in a different way. And but sounds like you've really prepared yourself quite greatly for these Paralympics. What do you expect out of Paris, or is there any goals? Obviously, everyone would love to reach the podium, but do you have any sort of personal goals that you want to take towards Paris?
I think for me, definitely going into these games with a much different mindset to Tokyo when of course I want to go there and I want to do my best, but I want to go there and leave everything I have on the track. I want to know that I've tried my all and no matter what the results are, I'll be proud that way. I think, yeah, I'm still one of the youngest in the field and yeah, I'm going to be 22 at these games. So yeah, I don't know, going into it, I just want to be proud of myself. And I've realized that my family, they're proud of me no matter what. They're proud of me just for making the games and just going and competing. So, yeah, knowing that it doesn't exactly matter whether you win a medal or not, a medal is so nice, but knowing that you've gone and given it your all, you can't really do any more than give it your all. And you've just got to be happy with that and go out there. And I don't know, I think one thing I really want is if a young person with a disability, if they see that, if they see me competing at the games or any other athlete and they decide to give sport a go, I would be so happy with that. It would be amazing. I want to, I guess, make a difference in someone's life. I want to show someone that you can do sport and whether you make the Paralympics or not, it doesn't matter. But just participating in sport and giving it a go is so important. I think I also want to make 12-year-old me proud. I want to be like, yeah, so confident of who I am. I am in the sport where I belong. And I want to show little 12-year-old me that, yeah, there was no need to be so embarrassed of your disability. There's no need to, I guess, kind of hide away. So, yeah, I want to make her proud and I want to show her that she should be proud of herself.
I think being proud comes in moments. It's like not a consistent thing, but it does come in moments. And And I only hope that, yeah, when you finish both your races, that you'll finish across that line and be proud, because you really should be of your journey. It's phenomenal to see where you've started to where you are now, and I'm sure so many people will be watching the telly and feeling very, very, very inspired. So thank you for sharing all of your story and what you are doing with myself as well as our community today. I want to end on a couple of sort of quick questions, just sort of providing more insight, more message towards you. So, firstly, I do want to ask that I know you did touch on sort of what message that you do want to share to people that are currently living with a disability. But if there was someone watching that was quite young, potentially a 12-year-old version of yourself, what would you like to say to them?
Well, first, I would say give it a go. Give anything a go, whether it's trying out sport or, yeah, just picking up a new hobby or anything. Just give it a go. And no matter what people say to you, whether they doubt your ability to be able to participate, just try it. Give it a go. That's really all you need to do. And it can lead to amazing things, and it can lead to, I guess, achieving more than you ever thought was possible. And I guess another thing I would say would be proud of yourself. Be proud. You are on an amazing journey. Everyone has had very different backgrounds, and everyone has put in different work to be able to get to where they are now. And yeah, you should be proud of yourself, all the effort you're putting in. And also, don't be too hard on yourself. I think you need to, I guess, have some discipline, but if things don't turn out the way you want, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. You can keep trying and use those setbacks as learning experiences to continue pushing.
Incredible. When do you think, or when do you think you will know that you've had enough of running, of when you need to start exploring a different journey?
Yeah, I think that's something I've actually been having conversations with people about recently, because I guess lots of people kind of know when it's time. It's definitely not my time yet. And lots of athletes, I guess, somewhat retire at a young age, but I'm 21 now, and I think I want to see how far I can go in this sport. I'm doing part-time studies, so I can kind of like push that off a little bit and continue with my sport. And I think Brisbane 2032 games, that would be an amazing games to have as my last Paralympics. I started my career at the 2018 Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast, so what better than another home games to, I guess, finish my career. And
Mm,
if I could go further than that, well, I don't know, that'd be so awesome. But I think for females in sport, there kind of comes a time whether you want to like start a family, because you've got to, well, if you're going to have kids, you've got to time it really well in competitions. So I don't know, that kind of comes into play. But you know, once I'm older, I'll be thinking of that more. But for now, I don't know. I just want to continue loving the sport. And I think if I stop loving it, then I don't know, maybe that would be time. But for now, I am enjoying it so much.
mm. And what do you want to be your legacy?
Sorry,
What do you want to be your legacy?
my legacy. Oh, that's definitely something, yeah, that I guess started to think about more, like I guess more about like my story and what I'm doing, because previously I was like, I am, I guess, such a boring athlete that I was born with my disability. It's not cool. Like, I don't know, other athletes have had accidents, how they've got it, they've had more interesting stories. But I think what I want to, I guess, have as my legacy is I just want to be seen as someone who always gives it my best. I want to be seen as someone who, I guess, no matter what, I show up with a smile on my face, and I want to be seen as a positive athlete and seen as someone people can look up to and be seen as an inspiration. I know lots of people with disabilities don't really like that word, but I want to be seen as an inspiration, not just because I get up every day and I have a disability. I want to be seen as an inspiration because of what I've done in my sport and what I've achieved, and hopefully be able to, I guess, motivate the next generation of athletes coming through.
Love that. So amazing. And I think that you really are. My final question, and then I'll let you off the hook. Um, Now, if you could describe the Paralympics in one word, what would you describe it and why?
I would say powerful. It's such a powerful movement. And I don't know, it brings people together and it shows that, I don't know, there's such diversity around the world and everyone has different stories. They have different paths. And I guess all the athletes competing, they are elite athletes and they are training so hard just for this short moment to try their best and I guess like carve their name in history. So yeah, watching the Paralympics and I guess participating in the Paralympics, it's such a powerful feeling and hopefully it can inspire more people and it can even able-bodied people inspire them to get out of their comfort zone, go give something a go try sport, just go and try it. So yeah, it's a powerful movement and I am really hoping that I guess these games can be covered more and they can be recognized more because in previous years, I guess the Paralympics weren't seen as much, especially on mainstream media. So I'm really hoping people can see how amazing Paralympians are from these games and people just give watching the Paralympics a go. Just watch it, just try it out. If you don't like it, then you don't have to watch anymore. But being able to watch all the different sports, it's so cool because you turn on the TV and you could be watching goalball, which is for vision impaired athletes that, oh, it's so amazing how they do it. I don't know how they do it. Or then you can switch the channel and it's wheelchair rugby, and that's the most scariest sport I've ever seen. Or you switch it on to athletics and you've got vision impaired athletes running with a guide in sync. It's the most perfect thing to watch. Or
Mhm.
a dude doing high jump with one leg. I don't know. There's so many amazing athletes that you can watch. And yeah, I don't know. I hope everyone just gives it a go and just tries watching parathletics or the Paralympics as a whole.
Oh, I'm even getting teary now just listening because it's that moment where you turn on the television and it's just you see scenes play out and you see a community come together and you see people that have just tried so hard and they're trying so hard just to give it their all and leave it all out there. And I think that's empowering, as you said, perfect word, powerful. Something that we definitely need to be seeing on our screens. And I know I will be watching it with a tissue box beside me because they just create so many beautiful moments. And I want to say congratulations, as I said, on your journey and where you are today, and good luck. I think you will do amazing no matter what, because as you said, you're running for that little 12-year-old that deserves to feel really proud of herself. And I really hope that you do feel that and that you cross that line and you own that story because you honestly deserve it. And I want to thank you for choosing this sport and for choosing to run and represent Australia as well, because you could have decided not to as well.
Thank you.
No worries, and thank you as well to everyone else out there for joining us for another Secret Sunday session. Of course, you have been listening to Rhiannon Clarke, and where can people follow you, follow your journey as we lead into the Paralympics?
Yeah, well, my Instagram is Rhiannon Clarke _. I also have a Facebook page and my TikTok is Rhiannon.Clarke _. And I'll be posting a lot of my journey in the lead up to the Paralympics and then at the Paralympic Games and give people a little insight as to what goes on in an athlete's life.
Incredible. We love that. We love all the behind the scenes stuff and getting all the tea. So thank you so much. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us for another Secret Sunday session. We'll catch you guys all next time.
I had issues with eating and body image dysmorphia.